Okay, this is Chris Chopik here across from the AGO. Manuel, you're going to be engaging with a group of people this afternoon in an interactive, contextual learning situation. Tell me what those people are going to get out of the experience of working with you.
What they're going to get today is three important elements if we are going to be designers of social systems. The first element is the role of human beings. How does human beings design and create their social systems? I call that role the observer. So to be an observer means to be aware of what is it that you're creating, consciously and unconsciously. Hopefully today people will be more conscious, be more aware of their role as observers in creating social systems. The second element that I'm going to be talking about today is the role of language. For human beings, language is almost an invisible phenomenon. It's almost like the fish in the water. They don't talk about the water. So for us human beings, language is like we're swimming in language and we take it for granted. But for designers of social systems, language is one of the most powerful tools that you can have to design almost anything. So I'm going to talk about the role of language. And the third thing I'm going to talk about is the social systems. What is a social system? For example, the culture that we live in. Again, culture for most people is something that's taken for granted. It's invisible. But we need to make it explicit. We need to question it. We need to redesign it in order to make it more human, more sustainable. So those are the three key elements today. The human being as a change agent, the role of language as a very transformative force, and the role of social systems or culture. Because the whole point of it is we need to start designing our social systems to be sustainable, that they sustain life for people, for the planet.
So I hear as subtext to this conversation social justice and energy and infrastructure.
Yes.
So
yes.
Making design accessible and a catalyst for compassion between people.
You could say that, yes, we want to make design for the benefit of humankind. We want to make design so that we can design structures, systems that are just. I think the justice part is very, because when you're talking about human beings, you've got to talk about ethics and justice. And most of our systems today are not designed for justice. There's an inequality in our systems. So yes, you do hear right.
And in the context of design, are we talking the chair I sit in at the office, or are we talking about bigger ideas, cities, and the connections between cities and people in the, let's say, the ubiquitous internet and those kinds of things?
Yes, exactly. It can go all the way. When I talk about design, what's amazing to me is that I'm going to be looking at the role of design, anything from an artifact, like a cell phone, a chair, a telephone, all the way, a computer, all the way to something like an institution, like a government, like a city, like a mass transit system. So it could go from something very concrete to something that looks almost very complex and very intangible.
So how do we go at design from a new perspective, where we're free of conforming to what we have and really inverting the design process to something that's really full of possibility?
Well, what I want to do is make sure that everyone feels comfortable with the role of designer, because in fact every human being is a designer. Even a baby, or we all grow up being, most of us get stifled in our design capacities. The culture tells you, oh, you have to be creative, or you have to be going to a special school. And the truth is, we're designing things. If you're in a relationship, in a marriage, you're designing it. Now, most people don't know how to design, so you get a lot of breakdowns in a relationship, and people wind up in divorce and arguing because they don't see themselves as designers. To give you a very concrete example.
That's a real life example that 51% of us or something like that really understand.
They never read the design manual. Well, that's part of the problem.
Where can we find more about you and more resources that will help us?
Okay, you can, for sure, you can go to my website,
yes.
www.evolutionleader.com.
Okay.
And there we can talk about the role of leaders also as designers. We need to design us. Basically, we need to design almost everything that the 20th century produced, from cars to buildings. We need to redesign the buildings, the cities, the institutions, and hopefully we'll wind up with a beautiful planet and a beautiful society.
Evolutionleader.com. Looking forward to taking a look there and being in touch with you on an ongoing basis. Very exciting work.
Great.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Real pleasure.
Looking forward.
Cheers.
All right.